Once, in a quiet village cradled by mountains and mist, there lived a humble carpenter named Elias. His hands were rough with labor, but his heart was soft, too soft, some would say. Elias never turned away a soul in need. When travelers passed through the village cold and weary, he'd offer them shelter in his modest workshop. When orphans cried from hunger, he shared his bread, often going without his own. When storms tore through the valley, it was Elias who helped rebuild the homes of others before tending to his own crumbling roof. "Foolish man," villagers whispered. "He gives, and what does he get in return? He'll die with nothing but sawdust in his pockets." Elias never answered. He just smiled, like someone who knew something the world had forgotten. One winter, a terrible crime shattered the stillness. The mayor's son was found dead, poisoned. Fear and suspicion crept like fog through every street. A traveler, last seen sharing soup by Elias's hearth, had vanished. And there, beneath the mayor's porch, they found a worn scarf. Elias's scarf. He was arrested, dragged through the snow as the village watched in silence. No one spoke up. Not the blacksmith whose home Elias had repaired. Not the widow whose roof he'd rebuilt. Not even the baker whose child he'd once carried through a blizzard. At the trial, Elias said nothing to defend himself. When asked why, he simply replied, "If I must speak to be believed, then all my kindness meant nothing." He was sentenced to life in prison. Years passed. The village forgot. New faces arrived. Old ones grew quiet. Until one spring, a stranger came, tall, with eyes like storm clouds holding back rain. He asked for Elias, only to be told the old carpenter had died in prison the year before. The stranger knelt in the village square and wept. He revealed that he was the very traveler Elias had once sheltered. The real killer, he confessed, had been another man seeking revenge on the mayor, using the stranger's presence to frame someone else. When the traveler learned of Elias's fate, he spent years gathering proof to clear his name. But he was too late. Too late to save a man who had saved him. The village fell into a hush. Guilt hung in the air like ash after a fire. To this day, a small lantern hangs above Elias's abandoned workshop. No one knows who lights it. But each night, it glows, soft and warm, like the heart of a man who gave without needing thanks. If this story touched something in your heart, share it. Not for views. Not for likes. But to remind the world that goodness doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it whispers. And sometimes, the quietest lives leave the loudest echoes. Leave a comment below if you still believe in people like Elias. Type, "I believe in quiet kindness." And remember, be kind. Even when no one is watching. Especially then.